Overnight, since 8 p.m, we have had 10 additional cases. So those 10 additional cases mean that in the last 48 hours, there's been a total of 28 linked to that cluster.
It's not the Christmas present Sydney was hoping for. Now the nation's largest city is scrambling to get things under control.
Nobody should be getting on public transport without wearing a mask. Nobody in Greater Sydney should be going to a supermarket, a place of worship or other high-risk areas without wearing a mask. It will just be crazy.
People in the suburbs of Kirribilli, Palm Beach, Penrith and Avalon Beach are on highest alert, and those who attended these specific venues have been asked to self-isolate for 14 days and get tested immediately.
A couple of people at those venues weren't from the Northern Beaches. They've gone back to their home, get back to their other suburbs. It does mean there's potential seeding outside of Avalon and outside of the Northern Beaches, and this is what we need to prevent.
The prospect of renewed border closures triggered a run on outbound flights from Sydney Airport today, with reports the last seat on a direct flight from Sydney to Adelaide was snapped up for a massive $861.
We were just keen that our flight was this morning and we were able to get out of there.
This afternoon, Victoria banned anyone from the Northern Beaches from crossing the border. Queensland, WA and the NT have mandatory quarantine rules in place. South Australia has reintroduced border applications, and Tassie will turn back anyone from a declared hotspot.
If we get on top of this in the next 2 or 3 days, all of us will be able to have a much better Christmas. But if we don't get on top of it in the next few days, it could mean further restrictions down the track.
New South Wales' first-class contact tracing team has kept previous clusters under control, but with the virus having a 5-day head start, can they do it again and save Christmas?
Zali Steggall is the independent federal MP for the seat of Warringah in Sydney's Northern Beaches. Zali, as we go to air, Bondi, Woolloomooloo and Cronulla have all been identified as new areas of concern. Do you get the growing sense that Sydney might be about to have a major outbreak on its hands?
Oh, look, I hope not. I think we've all had enough of 2020 and we don't need any more nasty surprises. Look, I've been incredibly pleased and proud of how quickly everyone's responding. We've got fantastic tracing here in New South Wales and I think the government is right on top of it. So I think everyone's got their fingers and toes crossed that we've taken the necessary hard actions. Everyone has stayed home. A lot of businesses closed in Warringah today for the next 3 days to respond to that need to stop the spread.
Well, even though there is the risk of it spreading outside the Northern Beaches, already the rest of Sydney and certainly other states are essentially shutting themselves off to the Northern Beaches where you are. Do you get the sense that this has wrecked Christmas for businesses in the area?
Look, it is really heartbreaking because, especially in Warringah and the whole peninsula, it's a very touristic place. We don't have any international tourism, so we're relying on all the domestic travel. There's a lot of retail and hospitality, which of course are the areas that are having to take precautions and shut for the next 3 days. So it is really heartbreaking, but we are really hoping that the next 3 days will do the job, the spread will stop, that the cases have been identified really clearly, and that we can get back to celebrating Christmas.
Well, the state government has set up lots of extra testing sites. Are people doing the right thing and turning up to get tested?
Absolutely. You've got to remember the peninsula, so Mackellar and Warringah, there's about a bit over 250,000 people that live in this area. We've got about 14 testing centres at the moment, so there have been queues and I am getting emails of people a bit frustrated, but everyone is being really cooperative and really going out there and being tested. As soon as there are, any concerns of having been to sites or a risk of maybe being somewhere where there's been infected people or having any symptoms. So encourage everyone to be patient, go and get tested, and of course take all those precautions and wear the mask whenever in public.
The Premier has warned of more restrictions if the daily case numbers don't improve. Are you worried that the Northern Beaches may be officially sort of locked down from the rest of Sydney?
Well, look, as you said earlier, there's cases emerging all over Sydney and other places as well. So I think, unfortunately, the nature of this virus is it spreads so quickly. But look, we always make jokes about the insular peninsula, and Spit Bridge is a drawbridge after all. So I don't know, maybe we will find ourselves isolated. But look, I really hope not. I think everyone's put in a lot of hard work over 2020. I think everyone really needs to see family and friends and be together over the Christmas period. period. So I hope that the next, some hard work over the next 3 days will mean we can get back to our Christmas plans.
Zali, how do you feel about calls for people to raise the Spit Bridge indefinitely?
Well, it's a bit hard for me in Warringah because it kind of cuts the electorate down the middle. I have half my electorate, which is Warringah and, Mossman and Neutral Bay, and the other half Manly and the Beaches. So that would be a very divided Warringah if that happened.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. It would be great news for PVO, who owns a boat, but for everyone else, it would be quite difficult.
Yeah, look, it's a tough one, but, everyone is really focused at the moment. It was really pleasing. We were supposed to have our Christmas lunch today with my team, and ironically, we were due to have it at quarantine at Q Station, but we did cancel that because we didn't think that was going to be appropriate in the circumstances. But look, everyone's got fingers and toes crossed. I mean, we've all had enough of 2020.
Yeah.
Thanks so much for your time, Zali. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
With so much content online, it's sometimes hard to keep up with it all. And let's face it, who has the time? The Project YouTube has you covered with the stories that matter. Hit subscribe for a daily list of the news that you need to know.